So for this equation, which is x over 2 plus 12 equals 24, I did the inverse operation for 12, so the opposite of addition is subtraction, so I did plus 12 minus 12, which the two symbols cancel each other out. So now I'm just left with x over 2 and 24 minus 12, because what you do on one side you do on the other side. So I'm just left with that. So now x over 2 is equal to 12. But if we want to get rid of the 2 and just have x, we have to multiply 2 by itself. So 2 times 2. So 2 times 2, they cancel each other out. So now we're left with x, and then we do the same thing on the other side. 12 times 2 is 24, so x is equal to 24. This one, which the equation is x over 7 minus 2 equals 40. I did the inverse operation as well. I did the opposite of minus 2, which is plus 2. So the two symbols cancel each other out. And now I'm just left with x over 7 equals 40. So what I do on the one side, I do on the other side. So I do 40 plus 2, which is 42. So now I know x over 7 equals 42. But if we want to get rid of the 7, we have to multiply 7 by itself. So 7 times 7 cancel each other out. And now we do the same thing on the other side, 42 times 7, which equals to 294. So x is equal to 290. So for this equation, which is x over negative 6 minus 8 equals 4, we're going to do the inverse operation as well. So the opposite of subtracting is adding. So we do minus 8 plus 8, which the two symbols cancel each other out. So now we're just left with x over negative 6 and 4 plus 8. So we do the same thing on the other side, which 4 plus 8 is 12. So now we know x over negative 6 is equal to 12. But if we want to get rid of the 6 and only have the x, then we do negative 6 times negative 6, which they cancel each other. So then we do the same thing on the other side, 12 times negative 6, which is equal to negative 72. And now we're left with x and negative 72. So x is equal to negative 72. So for this one, which the equation is x over negative 8 plus negative 2 equals 6, we did the inverse operation. So the opposite of subtracting is adding. So negative 2 plus 2, the symbols cancel each other out. So then we do the same thing on the other side, which is 6 plus 2, which that equals 8. So now we're left with x over negative 8 equals 8. So now we know that. But if we want x by itself, then we do negative 8 times negative 8, which they cancel each other out. So we do the same thing on the other side, which is 8 times negative 8, which equals negative 64. So x is equal to negative 64. For this one, which the equation is negative 3 plus x over 4 equals negative 9, we do the same thing. So the opposite of subtracting is adding. So negative 3 plus 3, the symbols cancel each other out. So then we do the same thing to the other side, negative 3 plus 3, which equals negative 6. So now we're just left with x over 4 equals negative 6. But if we want the x by itself, we have to multiply 4 times 4, which that cancel each other out. And then we do the same thing on the other side, negative 6 times 4, which equals negative 24. So x is equal to negative 24. For this one, which the equation is negative 20 plus x over 7, which equals 5. So for this one, we do the same thing. The opposite of subtracting is adding. So we do minus 20 plus 20, which the two symbols cancel each other out. So now we have x over 7, and then we do what we do on one side, we do on the other side. So now we do 5 plus 20, which that equals 25. So now we know x over 7 equals 25. And then if we want the x by itself, we do 7 times 7, which that cancels each other out. And then we do the same thing on the other side. 25 times 7, which x equals 275. So for this problem, which the equation is negative 32 minus x over 6 equals 10. So for this one, we do the same thing. The opposite of subtracting is adding, so negative 32 plus 32. The two symbols cancel each other out. So now we're just left with x over 6, and what we do on one side, we do on the other side. So now we have 10 plus 32, which equals 42. So now we know that x over 6 equals 42. So if we want to get the x by itself, we multiply 6 by itself, so 6 times 6. And what we do on one side, we do on the other side, which 42 times 6 equals 252. And since we have negative x, we want x by itself. So we're going to do negative x divided by negative 1. So we do what we do on one side, we do on the other side. So now we do 252 divided by negative 1 equals x equals negative 252. So x equals to negative 252. For this one, which the equation is negative 43 minus x over 9 equals negative 7. So I did the same thing. So the opposite of subtracting is adding. So I did negative 43 plus 43, which the two symbols cancel each other out. So I do the same thing to the other side, which is negative 7 plus 43, which equals negative 36. So now I know that negative x over 9 equals negative 36. So to get rid of the 9, I do 9 times 9, which I'm left with negative x. And then I do negative 36 times 9, which equals 324. So negative x equals 324. But then I want positive x, so I do negative x divided by negative 1, which equals x. And then I do the same thing to the other side, which 324 divided by negative 1 equals negative 324. So x is equal to negative 324.